That's my brother.
Oh, you know what? I don't need your brother telling me my job and what we need to do.
On June 12, 2020, Amazon driver Deja Murphy drove down a half-mile driveway in Lowell, Indiana to deliver a package. Property owner Keith Miller drove after her and used his truck to block the driveway, preventing her from leaving the property. Mr. Miller then approached Ms. Murphy's delivery vehicle, tried to open the door, and ordered her to exit and show him her driver's license. Ms. Murphy called 911 for assistance, and Officer John Marshall of the Lake County Sheriff's Department responded to the call.
You're going to pull your truck in your driveway. Yep. I'm going to get her information. I'm going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
I'm going to get my wallet from my office.
Huh? No, you're not. You're going to just give me your name and information.
Oh, sure.
I'm not spending all day with this. This is ridiculous.
I asked, and we have since put cameras up. I just said,
what's your last name?
Down. Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R.
Get in your truck. Get in your driveway. Please pull forward.
Can I do anything to
Please pull forward.
I can't ask a question.
We're done.
I can't.
You're blocking her.
On my property. On my property,
It's called criminal confinement.
Okay. I'm just asking, can I fill out a police report?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Now. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you have a problem, call Amazon.
Nope.
Pull forward.
I honestly have
Pull forward. There's plenty of places to call Amazon. And if they're speeding on the regular road, then we can do something. Private property, we can't do nothing about it.
Officer Marshall claims that because Ms. Murphy was on private property at the time of her alleged speeding, he is not within his authority to take any action against her. Traffic laws such as speeding often cannot be enforced on private property because of their limited applicability. For example, sections 9-21-5-1 and 9-21-5-2 of the Indiana Code outline the state's speeding laws, stating that, quote, a person may not drive a vehicle on a highway at a speed greater than is reasonable and prudent under the conditions, and that, quote, a person may not drive a vehicle on a highway at a speed in excess of the maximum limits, found in Section 9-13-2-49 of the Indiana Code, which states that a driveway is, quote, a way or place in private ownership that is used for vehicular travel by the owner and those having express or implied permission from the owner, but not by other persons. It is clear that Mr. Miller's driveway is not considered a highway under Indiana law, and therefore, Ms. Murphy could not be charged with speeding for traveling quickly on the driveway. Officer Marshall could not take any actions to address Ms. Murphy's alleged speeding.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
I need your license.
Okay. And may I ask why you didn't want my license?
Because you called the police, he called the police, and
he
called here. That's why I need your information. That's all the information I need. And he's upset because you were speeding. I told him he couldn't do what he's doing. And you're going to go on your way, and if you have any issues, you and your company can stop delivering here.
Okay.
How's that?
He came to my door. That's what bothered me. He came in my door, opened the door, told me to get the hell out my door, out the car.
Okay.
That's exactly what he told me.
Okay. No excuse for what he's doing, and I'm upset with him, not you.
Okay, just making sure.
No, I'm not upset with you.
I didn't do anything. I even asked him, can you...
Ma'am, I'm not upset with you whatsoever. I'm upset with him because what he's doing is... I can't explain it.
Tell him you do want to press charges.
I do want, because that's harassment.
You know what? Let's stop.
Okay.
We're going to do a report, and we're going to go about our day.
It's harassment, though.
Everything's everything.
Go about your day.
You know what?
That's harassment.
There'll be a report on file.
Although Ms. Murphy tells Officer Marshall that she would like to press charges against Mr. Miller for harassment, Mr. Miller's conduct would not be considered harassment under Indiana law. According to Section 35-45-2-2 of the Indiana Code, the crime of harassment occurs when, quote, a person who, with intent to harass, annoy, or alarm another person, but with no intent of legitimate communication, makes a telephone call, whether or not a conversation ensues, use, communicates with a person by telegraph, mail, or other form of written communication, transmits an obscene message or indecent or profane words on a citizen's radio service channel, or uses a computer network or other form of electronic communication to communicate with a person, or transmit an obscene message or indecent or profane words to a person. Because, under this definition, harassment cannot occur in person, Mr. Miller could not be convicted of harassing Ms. Murphy. However, his conduct could result in convictions for several other crimes, including criminal confinement. Under Section 35-42-3-3 of the Indiana Code, quote, a person who knowingly or intentionally confines another person without the other person's consent commits criminal confinement. And courts have concluded that preventing an individual from leaving a location can constitute criminal confinement. Mr. Miller could also potentially be convicted of the crime of intimidation, which according to Section 35-45-2-1 of the Indiana Code occurs when an individual communicates a threat with one of several wrongful intentions, including that another person be placed in fear of retaliation for a prior lawful act or of causing a vehicle to be evacuated.
We'll go to the prosecutor's office.
You could try to. I'm not sure.
We'll give you a case number.
Yeah, I want the case number too.
Get his badge number and his...
It'll be on the report, sir.
What's your name?
It'll be on the report. It's Marshall.
Marshall? Okay.
And tell your friend on the phone,
That's
I'm not
my
upset
friend.
with you.
That's my brother.
I'll
That's my brother.
you know what?
You know where everything's going on? That's the only reason why I'm
Everyone's fine. We're here. I don't need your brother telling me my job and what we need to do. All right, ma'am. There's the case number. Go ahead and the report will be on file. And go around our squad cars and go on out. Okay? Have a good day. Report's on file.
I'm going to try and get in touch with Amazon.
And hopefully there's no charges for you doing what you did. Because she wants to press charges.
I'm okay with that.
Well, that's fine.
You know.
We'll be the Detective Bureau. In the future, don't do it. Because we're racing all the way over here.
I did
Over
tell
this?
her it wasn't an emergency.
It is an emergency. When you're barricading someone from doing what they need to do or leaving, how about I barricade you? You'd be pretty upset. If I told you you couldn't go somewhere and I wasn't a cop, and I barricaded you in
If I knew I did wrong?
If you drove somewhere silly and did something silly, and I barricade you in and tell you you can't leave, whether it's at Walmart, supermarket, wherever, private drive, you'd be pretty hot. Even if you did wrong. You don't do that. If you wanted to call and make a complaint to us, pull in your driveway, call. We'll make a complaint. But you don't
Do I just need to call you and give you a plate number?
No, the plate number, it's on private property, for one. If you want to call and complain about it,
That's what I'm asking. How would I do it the right way?
basically it's private property.
Okay.
I can't enforce the speed,
Okay.
okay, on your property.
We can. Reckless endangerment. None of it matters. It's on my driveway.
Mr. Miller asks whether the police could respond if Ms. Murphy was committing reckless endangerment. Under Section 35-42-2-2 of the Indiana Code, quote, a person who recklessly, knowingly, or intentionally performs an act that creates a substantial risk of bodily injury to another person commits criminal recklessness. It is highly unlikely that simply driving fast on a driveway would be considered criminal recklessness. However, in the event that someone committed criminal recklessness or another criminal offense on private property, the police generally would be within their authority to enforce the law and arrest the offender because, unlike traffic regulations, criminal offenses are illegal regardless of whether they occur on private or public property. Although Indiana speeding laws do not apply to private driveways, if Ms. Murphy had violated any of the state's criminal laws, the police could enforce them, even on private property.
It's on your driveway, it's private property.
Okay.
If she hits you, that's one thing.
I'm off the county road, though.
It doesn't matter. It's still an accident on private property. We still have to handle it. So quit trying to go around everything I'm trying to tell you with different scenarios. One way or another, it's...
We just keep asking these people to slow down.
Well,
slow
they're
down.
not. So then you better figure out something else if you want them to slow down, because it's your property. You're the one with a half-mile long driveway. And two of us are racing here, speeding, so we can take care of business over this.
Okay.
When you have Amazon, you can call, or you could call and complain to us, and we could possibly follow through with Amazon. But at the end of the day, it is private property. There is plenty of numbers for Amazon, clearly.
Yeah.
Once he finished speaking with both Ms. Murphy and Mr. Miller, Officer Marshall left without making any arrests or issuing any citations. After the incident, Ms. Murphy retained an attorney and submitted a letter demanding that the Lake County prosecutors charge Mr. Miller criminally. On August 4th, 2020, Mr. Miller was charged in the Lake County Superior Court with criminal confinement where a vehicle is used, basic criminal confinement, and intimidation. As of the date of this episode, the charges are still pending. Ms. Murphy and her attorney have also claimed that Officer Marshall should have arrested Mr. Miller immediately. However, according to Lake County Sheriff's Department Attorney John Kopak, an internal investigation was conducted and it was determined that Officer Marshall did not engage in misconduct. It is unclear whether Ms. Murphy intends to pursue further legal action against Officer Marshall, the department, or Mr. Miller. Overall, Officer Marshall gets a C, because although he remained within the bounds of his authority throughout the interaction, he blatantly downplayed the gravity of Ms. Murphy's claims, refused to arrest Mr. Miller despite having clear evidence of his commission of a crime, and maintained a relatively hostile and confrontational attitude with everyone involved in the encounter. Within minutes of Officer Marshall arriving on the scene, he concluded that there was enough evidence to arrest Mr. Miller for the charge of criminal confinement, but instead of carrying out his lawful duty, he elected to give Mr. Miller a stern talking to, rather than placing him under arrest. While officers are granted a considerable degree of discretion in regards to making an arrest, his refusal to arrest Mr. Miller after Ms. Murphy made it abundantly clear that she would like to press charges was nothing short of unprofessional. And it is difficult to discern his reasoning when his logic stemmed from anecdotal euphemisms like, everything is everything, and I can't explain it. Now, ultimately, Mr. Miller was arrested, but Officer Marshall's refusal to carry out his duty on the scene led to Ms. Murphy being forced to hire an attorney to ensure that justice was served. Citizens should never be forced to hire a legal representative because a member of law enforcement neglects to take lawful action, especially when the evidence of the alleged crime was personally witnessed by the responding officer. Mr. Miller gets an F for failing to contact the proper authorities before taking action against Ms. Murphy, detaining Ms. Murphy without the lawful authority to do so, and for wasting the city's time and resources to resolve an issue that was largely civil in nature. Mr. Miller mentioned multiple times that he has had ongoing issues with drivers speeding down his private roadway, which means that he has had multiple opportunities to address the issue without resorting to illegally detaining the alleged speeders. As Officer Marshall suggested, Mr. Miller could have placed speed bumps along his driveway, contacted the company in question to make proper delivery arrangements, or simply asked Miss Murphy to slow down when she made deliveries to his home. But instead, he chose to take the law into his own hands and likely committed multiple crimes in the process. Ms. Murphy gets an A+ for remaining calm and collected despite being unlawfully detained by Mr. Miller, immediately calling 911 for help instead of resorting to physical resistance or violence, and for following up this encounter with the proper legal action. It is clear from the video that Ms. Murphy had a legitimate criminal complaint against Mr. Miller, and despite Officer Marshall's condescending attitude, she managed to keep her emotions in check and do what was necessary to temporarily resolve the issue. Attempting to carry out justice on the street rarely ever produces significant results, and Ms. Murphy did a fantastic job of reserving her grievances for the proper venue. It was relatively evident that Officer Marshall had no intentions of arresting Mr. Miller, but that did not deter Ms. Murphy from acknowledging that Mr. Miller's conduct was unlawful and taking the appropriate action against him and Officer